I will introduce each speaker by their name and give the title of the speech, then the title and the name again. We do welcome your applause as the speakers begin their speech. Are there any questions? Shall we begin? Svetlana Rakhimova. Living in a bubble is a life skill. Living in a bubble is a life skill. Svetlana Rakhimova.
Dear Contest Chair, dear fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests, when you see a positive person, a giggle box, do you wonder what makes them so? Did you ask them how they attained that autopilot of happiness? At times, they may irritate you, and then you say something like, "Oh, you live in your little world." Punch them with that. Or you say, "She's bubbly," or even, "Effervescent Svetlana." But if you ask them, they might research the issue and come back with some findings. When I was a child, I loved listening to my mom's tummy. I could hear rivers of honey and milk. I could imagine everything I heard from the fairy tales residing inside my mom's tummy. All those princesses and dragons and volcanoes and forests and rivers and sunsets and even fish and birds, they were all there. And I would say to my mom, "Mama, I love you so much." And she would ask me, "And how much is that?" And I would say, "I love you with the inner kingdom of love." So I had the answer for that question. Years later, when I worked as a university teacher and somebody asked me to do some unscrupulous things which nobody would know, I had the answer. I said that my inner society is more rigorous than the outer society, and I care for the opinion of my inner society more than for the opinion of the outer society. As you understand, I was very curious about the sounds of the human body. One day, my uncle Tolik visited us. He was drunk. He stretched himself on the beautiful, soft carpet. And then he did something that remained in my mind for the rest of my life. I looked at my mom. "What was that?" And my mom said, "Uncle Tolik is a worker. He works hard, and then he's tired, and then he sleeps." And I thought, okay, so when you're a worker and you're tired, you can come to your elder sister's home and stretch on the carpet, on the beautiful soft carpet, and you do this. Everything was vibrating and trembling in the house, the crystal in the cupboard, the tables, everything I touched had that sound of Uncle Tolik snoring. And I asked my mom, "Mama, can I record this?" And my mom said, "Yes, you can." So I recorded Uncle Tolik snoring on the Japanese tape recorder, and I listened to it. From then on, Uncle Tolik snoring was in my books of the elements of nature. Rain or shine, or Uncle Tolik snoring. For the rainy day, and for Uncle Tolik snoring. Years later, when I was traveling a lot on the internal flights, domestic flights in Uzbekistan, I used to travel on tiny, obsolete aircrafts like this, Antonov 24 or Yakovlev 40. I thought they were writing them off one by one after they crashed. And such flights were even between the countries. Like I was flying from Kyrgyzstan to Tajikistan over incredibly beautiful mountains. I could see the tops of the mountains. I could see the snowflakes shining and sparkling. What I was doing, well, actually, the engine of those aircrafts was so loud you couldn't hear the sound of your voice outside the plane, in the aerodrome, or inside the aircraft when you were flying. And if the temperature down there on the ground was plus 50 degrees centigrade, up in the air, in the airplane, it was probably below zero because the vapor was coming out of our mouths and the cold wind was coming from all holes. I was looking outside the window onto those snow-capped mountains, and I was preparing for the worst. I was clutching my handbag with my mobile phone, ready to catapult myself by just punching the window and landing into the soft snow and making a call. Again, years later, when I hear my husband snoring, I know it's a nuisance for a lot of people. And a lot of people's husbands also snore. And then they discuss it as a nuisance. But I think, for me, it's a sound of happiness and peace. Because I believe that men protect their houses from wild animals. So I put my ear to my husband's chest and I listen and I imagine those snow-capped mountains, and I believe that creating a bubble is a life skill. Thank you.